So before we actually tune in, we're going to be starting in one of two restorative options. So before we sit and tune in together, I just want you to have stuff near you so that it's readily available. So you're either going to have a big bolster near you, or you would take two blankets folded like this so that it mimics a bolster. Okay, so I just took two blankets and I folded them into this nice kind of long rectangle. And you can do this with towels as well, right? If you don't have blankets, towels work great. And then the other option is these kinds of, I guess it's more of a rectangle than it is a square. But if you have maybe two of these, you could put one and then the other, and that would also mimic a bolster. These we have a lot more of for sale at the yoga center. I'm pretty sure I sold all the bolsters already. And if I didn't, there's already two people waiting for them. So yeah, bolsters are pretty much gone at YCA, unless the ones that were on rental get returned. That could be possible. But these work really nice as well. Anyway, let's come. You're not going to need it quite this moment. So let's come and sit. And I invite you to come into either Virasana or a Siddhasana or Sukhasana, whatever seat feels like home for you this morning. I have to turn off this ringer so no noise is made. Good. And take a moment now to feel the parts of your legs that are touching the earth. So maybe it's the bones of your feet, the lower leg limb bones, upper leg limb bones, the bones of your pelvic halves, and the two sitting bones that you sit right down on top of. So I ask you to bring your awareness here, because as we come to this first seat, there's a really important piece of finding clarity, grounding, rooting, and a settling. And the bones offer that kind of a quality for us. So in a way, it's like we set up the tent poles first, then we build the tent, and then we get to bring all the yummy, wonderful, cozy things inside the tent. So your bones, one of the reasons they offer this kind of clarity is because they will remain even when we leave our bodies. So there's something really poignant about one, being able to be present and accepting and in relationship, in a healthy relationship with the dying and death process. And then, and the impermanence of life, right? There's something very important about embracing the impermanence of life. But then there's also something kind of wild that our bones remain, right? Many of us believe that the soul lives on, and I do, I believe that. But what I also notice is that the bones are here. And so those bones are offering, I don't want to say permanence, but the bones are offering a kind of density and clarity and solidity that's unique. So with these few breaths and allowing your inhale and exhale to lengthen, so drawing out the inhale just a little longer, drawing out the length of the exhale just a little longer. As you're with these next few breaths in this way, see if you can literally bring your awareness inside your compact bone. So that's the kind of grayish, whitish mineral bone. And whether it's the bones of your feet, your legs, pelvic halves, your sitting bones, your spine, just let yourself rest in the awareness and the quality of them. It's kind of very earthy, stable, compact mineral bone. And breathing into your bones in this way, notice what you feel, notice what you sense, notice what is, and what the consciousness of your bones offer. Now, staying with your bones, notice your rib cage. Okay, so we're coming up a little higher. Notice that as you inhale, and this is happening all the time, you don't have to make it happen, but you can become aware of it in a more direct way. So when the breathing diaphragm moves down and the air gets pushed into you and you inhale, your ribs, bones, are literally expanding three-dimensionally. And when you exhale, your ribs are condensing in. Again, it's from the fronts, the sides, and the backs. So see if in the next few breaths, you can notice the ribs. And there are muscles in between each rib. So feel, sense, become aware of as your lungs expand, your ribs are expanding in all directions, front, sides, and back. And these bony ribs, as you exhale, are condensing in. And if it's useful to do it with your hands, do it with your hands. Ribs expanding on the bony and muscular level. And exhale, they're condensing in. 3 more just like that, paying attention to the rib cage itself, which is not actually a cage. There's 126 mobile joints in the so-called cage. So feel the mobility of this so-called rib cage. You can be using the Ujjayi pranayama. Good. And once you become aware of the movement in your ribs, and remember, they're moving in all 3 directions. Once you become aware of the movement in your ribs, go in a little more to what we often do, which is the 3-part, 3-dimensional lung breath. So I want you to become very sensitive to the breath in the back of the lungs just as much as the front lungs. And in a moment, when we go down onto our, whatever you're going to use, whatever prop, it'll be even easier to go into the back lungs. But for now, we'll stay with the Ujjayi pranayama, 3 parts. So the very bottom to the mid to the top of your lungs. Air comes in from the top through the nose all the way down, but it's then going to fill, and prana is going to fill from the bottom to the mid to the top. And it's not linear in this way. It's not compartmental in this way. It's much more spiralic and dynamic, but still, for the sake of working with this technique in this way, it's helpful to imagine the lungs like a big clawfoot tub filling up with the water, but it's air, right? From the bottom to the mid to the top. So as you're ready, exhale your breath. Go down through your pelvic half and leg bones, and slowly inhaling, letting yourself become aware of 3 parts, filling the bottom, mid, top, and a nice long exhale, just like the water being drained out of the tub. It releases from the top to the mid to the bottom. Stay with it and let it be full in the fronts, the sides, and the backs of your lungs to the best of your ability. And you let yourself notice, ooh, are you a little stuck in your right side lung? Is it not so easy to breathe in the back bottom lungs? Is it not so easy to bring it up to whatever it is, to the top, the back? Just let yourself notice, scanning, 3-part, 3-dimensional. Keep your tongue and jaw relaxed, brain resting down. And with your next exhaling breath, follow it, trace it all the way down to the emptiness. And then let's add in the arms. So now you've got the bones grounding into the earth. You've got the expanding, condensing of the rib cage. You've got the lungs, 3-part, 3-dimensional. Let's add in that quality of air, the buoyancy moving our arms. So as you begin to inhale and you fill, let the buoyancy of your lungs float your arms out. Spin them when you get halfway. Open and reaching up. Exhale, float them down. Coming to Anjali Mudra. Now, please do this at your own pace. One of the beautiful things about our humanity is that we all have unique rhythms, pulses, inner drum beats. So what's your rhythm right here, right now? And be mindful that your rhythm isn't the same all the time, right? Your essence is usually the same, the essence of soul being, of the truth of you. But that too is evolving and waking up. But each moment, each day, depending on what you're dealing with energetically, depending on what's going on in the space around you, it might impact your rhythm, your pulse that day. But again, there's an essence of your rhythm and your pulse. And when you nourish yourself with the depth of breath and practice, you move closer to that place. So a few more times, really becoming aware of the bottom to the mid to the top, 3-dimensionally in your lungs as you float your arms. And allow yourself to exhale all the way to the complete empty place. And pause. Good. 2 more. And when you do come back to Anjali Mudra on this last round, stay there. In the cup of your hands, you hold an offering, right? Anjali literally translates to a measurement or a cupful or a handful. So it's an offering, and you offer it to yourself, you offer it to the space around you, and you offer it to the collective field in which we're all very intimately a part of, the wholeness of being. Let's chant Om 3 times together and the peace mantra. Exhaling your breath all the way to empty. And inhaling to begin. Sahanav avatu, sahanau bunatu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. May all beings be protected. May all beings be nourished. May we learn to work together powerfully. May our studies and practices together illuminate, and may we not oppose each other. May there be true and deep peace within all beings everywhere. Taking in that mantra and that prayer into the cells of your body. We'll go ahead and transition out. And before we come into the restorative posture, just want to release our knees from sitting and the backs of our legs. So come to either hands and knees or forearms and knees. And extend your right leg back behind you with the toes curled under on the mat. Press down through the bones of your left foot, shin and knee, and then lift up out of your hip joint. Draw the center of your pelvic floor up, and it rises to your belly pit. Draw your belly pit in and up. And then as you're ready, you're gonna glide. So push off from your toes, roll over your foot if you're willing, and inhale, glide forward. Bending your elbows. We always have a little bend in the elbows so that we can push from the hands through to the tail. Exhale, glide back. So moving again, your rhythm, your pace, inhaling forward, exhaling back. Do attempt to lengthen the breath whenever possible. Lengthen and finding the three-part, three-dimensional lung breath. Keep space through the bony core from your head to your tail. So the top of the crown and the tip of the tail gently reach away from each other. And not only do you draw your belly pit in and up, but you also undulate your navel belly towards the back abdominal wall. That supports your lumbar spine. Good, now release the right knee. Again, you can be on hands, fisted hands or forearms, and extend your left leg behind you now, toes curled under. Right foot, shin and knee pushes into the earth so that you float up out of the right hip. Mula Bandha, belly pit, and you're gliding. Push off, inhale. Exhale, glide back. As you micro bend your elbows, stay grounded through your pointer fingers. And see if you can feel that space and the length of the Ujjayi pranayama. And by the way, rolling to the top of your foot is optional. I know that that can be uncomfortable for some of you. So if it is, you can skip it. However, it's something to consider because, you know, as we're bringing our feet into wool socks again, although not lately. Lately, I was barefoot yesterday. But as we start to think about socks and boots again, we do want to make sure we maintain a massage and a spaciousness through the bones, the muscles, the fascia of the feet. Good. And then when you're ready, next time you glide back on your exhale, pause and then release the knee. So the two options for this next practice is going to either be Makarasana or a wide-kneed child's pose, and I'll show both. So Makarasana is one of my most favorite postures ever, and we've done this a lot in class, just not so much in the online classes, I think. So Makarasana, you would open your pelvic halves, legs, and feet on a pretty big external rotation. The bolster will come under your front body, and the top of the bolster comes to your collarbones. Then you place a blanket or even a cushion if you want your head higher. Some of you will not want your head below your heart. Okay, so if that's the case for you, you bring up your head as high as you need to. So I'm going to just show you what it looks like. This is Makarasana for me, right? This is how I find the comfort. And I either have my arms up overhead or down by my sides. And sometimes I even curl them in by my face, especially on those days when my nervous system could really use a little more, you know, like returning to the infant that sucks their thumb and like curls up in a little ball. Sometimes I remember my younger sister, who's 5 years younger than me, so I can remember she used to like curl up on top of the heat, the vent that would come from the floor, and she'd curl up and suck her thumb. So sometimes I think about her doing that. So anyway, this is one option, this Makarasana. It is intense to have the bolster come up into you, but it's also quite important and really delicious for the nerves and for bringing on the relaxation response. So if you can get used to it, I would. I know some of you, the breast tissue is really uncomfortable. So just see what you can do. And if it's not comfortable, I'm going to suggest the wide knee child's pose. So knees are apart, big toes are together. You slide the bolster in between your legs like I'm showing here, and then you can rest on the bolster. And the bolster can come up higher. You can take blocks under it and have it be higher. Now, if your knees are not enjoying either of these two options, I will provide a third option. So the third option would be coming to sit with your legs wide in Upavista Konasana. Let's see, you would have a blanket or two under your seat so that you do not collapse back. And then you could take your bolster upright like this, or you could have it be on a block and recline forward over it. Okay, but I would really love for you to get to some type of belly down expression here. So settling into whatever option you chose, begin by noticing the earth coming up into you. So whatever you're using, the bolster, the blankets, the cushion, the towel, maybe nothing, maybe you decided you just wanted the earth. Whatever it is, see if you can receive the support of the earth coming up into your front body, offering you this whole front body yield. If you have any resistance, it's okay. We're not always quick to say, yes, I'll receive myself. I love myself, right? We're not always quick to say, yes, I'll receive the support from the earth and let myself really be held and nourished. So noticing where you are is really important. And noticing, what do you sense as you drape your body, literally like a coat hanging off a hanger, drape your body down onto the support and begin the process of receiving the earth support up into your front body, yielding your pubic disc into you, yielding your belly pit into you, your navel belly, your lungs, your heart, and even through the kind of upper parts of lungs and even your esophagus. Your neck is in a forward bend, so cervical spine, if it was okay for you to lower your head is lower. Otherwise, keep your head supported. Now, because there's compression into your front lungs, it might invite you to go right away into your back and side lobes of lungs. And that's where I'd like you to bring your attention now. So as you receive the compression of the front body into you, which by the way, I think I mentioned this recently, it helps to tone the vagus nerve, which helps to induce that relaxation response. And there's other nerves, right? The whole enteric nervous system in your guts. Anyway, this is a really good practice to do for the nervous system. As you are ready, inhale into your back bottom lobes of your lungs, really spanning wide through the back body. And as you exhale, imagine the breath just pouring down through your body. And we're going to stay with this. When you breathe into your back bottom lobes of lungs in this way, you are nourishing your kidneys. And your kidneys are tucked under on each side, right under the bottom ribs. They're kind of half under the ribs and half in the space right after the ribs. Your kidneys energetically are the water element, and they hold your personal reserves, right? The energy and the prana that is meant to be spread through the whole body. And the adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys, are fire. And we are often overstimulated, overly pulling on the adrenals, cortisol levels out of whack, and we're stressed, you know? And a lot lately, I see people acting very much from a stress response. And I understand we're living in crazy times. So let's do something about it. As you can stay with it, really focus on inhaling, plumping, juicifying, breathing into your back bottom lobes of your lungs, giving all that yumminess to the kidneys and just circulating the prana throughout your whole body. And exhale, feel the breath pour down. So receiving compression through the front body, melting and draping your body down over your support. Stay with it, 5 more breaths. Inhaling into the back, bottom, and side lungs. Exhale, pouring the breath all the way down. 5 more just like that. You can use Ujjayi. Try to melt into it. And stay with it. This is something I like to do for maybe anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes. So it's something to tuck away in your back pocket and do throughout your days as needed. So staying with this, I just want to add on one more piece. Your kidneys are filtering blood, and then the waste product is traveling down through tubes. These tubes are called ureters, and the blood, as it's getting filtered, the waste is going down the tubes. It's going from the kidneys, which are in your back body, down through these tubes that go from back body to front body diagonally forward into your bladder. And then the bladder is like the seat of will and determination. It's the powerhouse. It's the partner for the kidneys. And that bladder yields into you to receive what was being sent down from the kidneys. And then, of course, you urinate and there's this even bigger release. So let's 3 more breaths here. Allow that inhale to really fill up the back lungs and the kidneys. And as you exhale, it's not just the downward current of the breath, it's also this going with what's already happening in your body, which is this release diagonally from the back in the kidneys down, forward, through these tubes on both sides and into your bladder. So feel this, 3 more breaths. Inhaling into back, lungs, kidneys. Exhaling the breath down, diagonally forward, and right into the seat of the bladder, drawing the bladder into you as the organ of the belly pit. So belly pit draws in and the bladder yields in because it's very closely related to the belly pit. 3 more breaths, just like that. Juicifying, plumping, softening, widening, kidneys, lungs. Exhale, currenting the breath and the waist down, diagonally forward, bladder yields in. 2 more. And when you exhale this next breath, you're going to let it go, yet stay with it. So come on up to your forearms now, and then draw your legs together. So if you were in one of the other options, if you were not in Makarasana, come now onto your front body and bring your big toes together. Draw your leg bones and your pelvic half bones together. And then place your elbows so that they are shoulder width apart and bring them like 2 millimeters forward of your shoulders. Push your forearms down and away from you, and then pull the forearms towards you. So without physically moving them, it's an isometric movement. And just do that again. Yield and push, and then yield and pull. Now stay here in the yield and pull. Press the tops of your feet into the earth and draw your bladder and your belly pit into you. Feel the 2 pubic bones, those are the bottom portions of the pelvic half bones. Feel them squeezing and releasing into the disc between your bones and recede that disc into you. Now we came up into a back bend, and this is a nice squeeze into the kidneys and the lungs. So stay with the same breath pattern. 3 more breaths, and be mindful to stay wide through your collarbones and let the cobra hood attach at the base of your skull, come up over your head and recede into your third eye. So jaw joints lift straight up, base of skull rises, and third eye recedes in, just like the pubic disc, just like the belly pit, just like the bladder. Good. Now, slide your hands back so they come to the sides of your chest and push yourself up a little higher, Bhujangasana. Feel the bolster coming into you, helping you to find the pubic disc yielding in, the belly pit yielding in, and your bladder yielding in. Now inhale into your back lungs. Push evenly from both hands, both arms, and spin. Look back over your right shoulder, squeezing your right lung and kidney. Inhale into the center, still breathing into the back lungs. And exhale, spin, look over the left shoulder, squeezing left lung and kidney. Inhale, center. Draw your navel belly into you, back towards your back abdominal wall, and spin, exhaling. So you're going to keep going side to side like this with your own pace of breath, your own rhythm. Stay wide through your collarbones. Keep bent through the elbows. A strong yield and push through your hands will actually help to bring a space of healing into your wrists. And feel what it is to breathe three-dimensionally into your lungs, specifically focusing on the back lungs. Feel what it is to have the ribs expanding, condensing with the lungs. And then feel what it is to squeeze and release through each side, lung and kidney, bringing more juice, vitality, liveliness to the lung-kidney relationship, helping to bring that prana or chi throughout your entire body. Good, and when you come to the center this next time, stay, lower your knees and pull back into a knees together child's pose. Rest your forehead on your bolster, knees together child's pose. Take your palms face up, backs of the hands on the mat next to the bolster. And then 3 times, press the tops of your feet, shins and knees down and in towards each other. It'll lift you up a little and then release it. Pulse down, in and up, and release it. And one more time, just like that. Good. And then come on up to hands and knees. And we're either taking a downward dog on the bolster or a wall dog at the wall or maybe the chair. So when you're ready, curl your toes under, bend your elbows down towards the earth, push from your hands through to your tail, rest your hairline. So it's the space between your forehead and the hair on the top of your head. And some of us have a receding hairline. So wherever you feel that the kind of forehead area meets the top head area. You want to rest your head here. So those of you who were in class with me on Tuesday morning, we were working with this, but it was obviously much more vigorous. So this is a way slowed down, gentle version. So bending your knees quite a bit, bending your elbows, pushing a lot from your hands through to your tail. Allow this part of your head to rest, resting your brain. We're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. Same pattern. As you inhale, breathe into your back bottom lobes of lungs, juicifying, filling the kidneys, inviting the adrenals to sit down and relax. And exhale, feel the breath, just like the blood, pour down diagonally from your back body to your front body and into your bladder. 2 more breaths, just like that. Good, and when you exhale this next time, go all the way to empty. Pause. Bring your knees to the floor. Come up, knee standing. And in knee standing, check out your bladder here. So your bladder is like a water balloon. It's like a gyroscope water balloon. It's going like this inside of you. And you all know what it's like to have a full bladder, right? So this is an organ that isn't so mysterious to feel. So C, you all know, okay, bringing the pelvis back, pelvic floor hovered over the earth, groins hollow, pelvic halves squeeze into the disc between them, the disc comes into your body. Let's add in the bladder. Draw that bladder into you like this kind of buoyant, hefty, dense water balloon that it is. And then take the backs of your hands to your kidneys. And just give a little yield and push of backs of hands into kidneys and notice if you thrust forward at all. And see if instead, if you can really rest and breathe into your hands. Now, if you have the range, slip the palms of your hands to the kidneys. Remember, you have one on each side, and if there is not one of them physically there, the energy body of it remains. So breathe 3 breaths as you draw your bladder into you. Breathing into your back lungs, you should feel the movement of your lungs in the palms of your hands, giving some vitality to the kidneys, some space, and some juicy plumpness. You feel the movement back there? Good. And as you're ready, come onto hands and knees again. Now, kickstand your right foot off your mat. Bring your right hand to the middle of your mat, or maybe it's not even quite the middle, but it's a little bit closer to the middle. And then extend your left leg. Left leg comes right out from the hip. Bend the knee, yield and push that foot all the way into the earth, and then reach up with your left arm. You can take this arm up overhead if you want. Remember, you might need a blanket under the standing knee. Now, as you're ready, you're going to roll through both kidneys and lungs, allowing the front lungs, as if they had eyeballs, to look up. Rest your heart back into the cradle of your lungs and your kidneys back there. As you push that right hand down and away, slide your right shoulder blade down. Keep rolling through kidneys, lungs, and ribs, but rest back here. So another little squeeze and rolling into kidneys, giving them that massage. And when you're ready, exhale, turn down. Spin the left foot off your mat. Move your left hand just a little bit closer to the midline of your mat. Extend your right leg. Bend your right knee. Push from that right foot through to your crown. Bend your left elbow. Push from that hand through to the tail. Float your right arm up. Hey, and by the way, the bent knee, press down through the top foot, shin and knee, and lift up out of the hip. So as you draw your bladder into you, just like you draw your belly pit into you, spin through the kidneys and the lungs. Don't push them forward. So that's what you have to be really careful about. Thrusting your kidneys and your lungs forward will cause this kind of breaking through the solar plexus area. And that's a place you don't want to break. You want there to be a kind of harmony of prana flowing through this area. You know, you have the vagus nerve traveling down through this area. You have that whole bundle of nerves, the celiac ganglii there. You have the bridge of transformation from the Manipura chakra to the Anahata chakra. So there's a lot going on. So instead, stay with your breath into your back lungs and just roll through the kidneys and the lungs rather than push forward. And the bladder and the belly pit coming in will really help you. And of course, reaching your crown and tail away from each other. Good, and when you've had enough, turn down. Your choice, either knees together or knees apart, child's pose. Or anyone who wants a little more movement, I invite you to take a Surya Namaskar B. So that's the sun, sorry, not B, Surya Namaskar A. That's the sun salutation A, if you just want to move through what we have historically called a vinyasa. So you know who you are if you need that kind of a movement. You know, this class is called gentle, but I'm very aware from what I've heard from some of you that some of you need a lot more movement, some of you need much less movement. And so I really want you to be able to make the accommodations for yourself as needed. So it's either a knees together, knees apart, child's pose. It's a downward dog, or it's a sun salutation A. Take your time. 3 more breaths, nice and slow and long. Good. And as you're ready, you're going to make your way into Bharmanasana, table, with your hands on your blocks. And you can come to the I'm going to bring mine up to the top setting. You can come to whatever setting works for you. And as you exhale, draw your right knee into you. As you inhale, kick it back behind you, toes and knee pointing down, and look up. Go ahead and move your body through extension. Nice long exhale, curl in. Direct your breath into the back lungs and into the kidneys as you inhale, expand. Again, a nice squeeze release for the organs. Exhale, curl it in. Good, 2 more. Draw that bladder into you. Bladder being the seat of determination and will. And when we are in balance, there's a kind of like an ego serving the soul. And when we're out of balance, we become obsessed with image and success and, what do people think about me and all that kind of stuff. Step your right foot up now between your hands. So where's your bladder, right? Do you have a balanced, energetic bladder? Or are you really concerned about, how are you going to be successful? How are you going to achieve things? How are you going to, even how are you going to save the world? That was a major revelation for me when I realized how obsessed I was with like changing the world. I realized it was like an ego trip. That like, I'm going to do something to change the whole world. It's like, no, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to pray and meditate and practice and listen and receive guidance about how to serve, So all this has to do with the bladder energy. So drawing the bladder into you, curl your back toes under, and as you exhale, send the breath down through the kidneys, through the ureters, into the bladder. Bladder yields in, tail reaches back, perineum rises. Now bring your left hand to the inside of your right foot on your block at whatever height you want the block to be. Rolling your left kidney and lung under, roll your right kidney and lung on top, and reach your right arm up. Now, if your left shoulder is popping up towards your ear, it could be because your block is too high. I just noticed that mine was doing that. So check out what yours is doing. Now continue this rolling of the kidney and lung, left side, roll it under, roll the right kidney, lung on top. So we're giving a beautiful spin, a nourishing squeeze and release. Keep reaching your crown and tail away from each other. Stay with the breath pattern. Inhale, breathing into back lungs. Exhale, prana pouring down just like the filtered blood from your back body diagonally forward into your front body. Gently sway your hips to the middle of your mat in case they're moving towards the right. And as you're ready, exhale, turn down, lower the left knee and the right knee. Before we go to the other side, take some circles here in Vidalasana. So cat rolling. Push hands to tail and tops of the feet to head. And feel what it is to stir and mix and spiral and spin through your kidneys, your lungs, your bladder. And of course, all the other yummy parts are coming along for the ride. Now spin the other direction. Still using that same Ujjayi, three-dimensional lung breath with a specific focus into the back lungs and kidneys. Good, and pause. You may turn your blocks up again. Now as you exhale, curl your left knee in. Inhale, move your core through expansion, toes and knee point down. Exhale, curl it in. 3 more. Remember, inhaling into the back bottom lungs, plumpifying, juicifying your kidneys, and squeeze in. And on the third time that you curl in, step it up, coming into the lunge. Curl your back toes under. Wait for an exhale and send the prana down. And then heel and tail reach to the back wall. Bring your right hand and block to the inside of the left foot. Ground down through your left big toe ball and notice if your hips are swaying to the left. Bring them center. Draw the pelvic floor up. Pushing from that right hand still through to the tail, right kidney and lung start to initiate the spin. Left kidney and lung roll on top, and we reach. So feel what it is to stay with the same breath pattern. To keep spinning and rolling through kidneys and lungs. And even though we're working pretty hard, can the adrenals be awake, alert, and acting, but could they rest? You know, the adrenals look like little wool hats. They look like somebody knitted, like these little woolen hats, and they sit right on top of the kidneys. And yeah, they do need to be alert and active and ready, but not overly fired. You know, and some of us we react. We react and we respond from stress response rather than calm and clear. Good, now when you're ready, turn down, lower the knee, step your left knee back, and a few more cat circles. Go in the other direction, mixing and stirring it all up. Good, now you have a choice. You can come to knee stand and make your way up. We're going to do just a little bit of standing. So you can come from knee standing and step up, or those of you who want to take a downward dog and walk your feet up through Uttanasana, that's fine. So you choose your medicine, and we will meet each other. It won't be too long of standing, so come and meet standing at the top of your mat. Or even in the center is fine. Keep having to move it so we can see. Okay. So let's just try a couple rounds of Ardha Surya Namaskar, just a very simple, gentle half sun salutation from the perspective of what we're working with this morning. So first, just bring, again, the backs of your hands to the backs of your lungs, to the bottom of your ribs, to where your kidneys live. And if you have the range, bring the palms of your hands. It's just a little different on the shoulder, so it could be a little harder. Now breathe into the space under your hands. You should actually feel some movement there. You'll feel your ribs moving on the bony and muscular level, and you'll actually feel your lungs moving. And some of us can feel our kidneys, right? Even if you lean forward a little bit, you might be able to feel your actual kidney. So play around and see what you can feel. How full and juicy and plump without getting waterlogged, right? We also don't want to get waterlogged, but how full, juicy, vital can you feel and sense through the breath back here? Now, as you're ready, sit down into a little baby Utkatasana and see if you can follow the pathway, inhaling into the back lungs. And as you exhale, use your hands, trace down as though you could touch the ureters on either sides, and the bladder comes in. And then you reach your arms up. Full breath. So Utkatasana is a fierce posture. It's a fiery posture, but it can also be completely calm when we bring in the kidney bladder diagonal. So let's try it again. Push down, inhale, come up, standing in Tadasana, pelvic floor hovered right over the earth. And then we'll do the half surya. I didn't forget. Hands to the kidneys, to the back lungs. Once you feel movement under the palms of your hands, sit down. Can you notice the bladder and the belly pit coming in? Now inhale into your hands, and as you exhale, trace the ureters down, bladder in, arms forward and up. One more full breath. Good, and then when you're ready, push down, inhale, come up, arms out to the sides, exhale, Anjali Mudra. Pelvic floor hovered over the earth when you stand in Tadasana, bladder yielding into you so that you're not, one of the reasons that we have issues with incontinence and weakness in the pelvic floor with the bladder is because we are always, not always, that's me being dramatic, but because we are often spilling our belly pit and bladder out. It's so important that the belly pit and the bladder yield in and that the pelvic floor is hovered over the earth, not in the top rim in an anterior tilt or a posterior tilt. Okay, so we want tone and buoyancy and levity in the bladder and belly pit. Anjali Mudra. Inhale, reaching out, opening up. Actually, come back. We need to do that again. Float your arms back down. I want you to do what you did in the very beginning of class. So that the arms only move because they receive the unity of connection of the air moving in the lungs. You have no shoulder joints in this inquiry. You have lungs that are so big that they move out into your arms. Okay, so let's try that again. Filling up your lungs from the bottom to the mid to the top. They float your arms because your arms are your lungs. You peek up, lifting the base of your skull, bladder coming in, pour forward. Now, as you go to wave out, inhale into your back lungs and kidneys. Slide out and breathe into them back there. Bladder's still coming in to support you, just like the small intestine. And exhale, bow. Good, now push down from your feet through to your crown. Inhale into your back lungs, but use the support of the bladder, the small intestine, all the tissues in the front there. Bring them into you to lift you to come up. And as you exhale, slide down, touch your crown, third eye, and heart. And again, Ujjayi Pranayam, lungs, arms, fill, float, expand, reach. Don't forget about Mula Bandha. Exhale, bladder comes in and it does that little gyroscopy rolling around thing as you bow. Bladder, belly, pit, front body organs all come in as you wave out, inhaling into the back lungs. You're breathing into all the lungs. I want to remind you of that. It's a spiralic, three-dimensional, three-part breath. And then again, how does that front organ body support you? Reaching crown and tail away from each other as you rise to come up. And Anjali Mudra, crown, third eye, heart. One more round, just like that. Let's do it nice and slow. Fill. Bottom, mid, top, lungs as you float. Exhale, pour it all over, just like the breath moving down, just like the blood moving down. Push down, pelvic halves, legs. Inhale into your back lungs. Front body organs support the lift. And exhale, current it all down.
Now this is a huge movement. So push from your feet to your crown. Crown goes forward, spine is long. Front organs lift to support you as you inhale into the back lungs and you rise. Exhale, crown, third eye, and heart. One last time on your own. When you do come to Tadasana, just stand. Be present to the three-part, three-dimensional long breath, whether you're using Ujjayi or not. Feel, sense the kidneys awake and alive, at rest, at peace. And the tubes moving from back body diagonally to front body, the ureters, into your bladder and bladder in. Bladder in. Groins hollow. Right? Ovaries or the loop of the vas deferens in. If you have a uterus, uterus in. Not hard, not pull. Undulation. And please always remember, when something's been removed, the energy body is there. Good. One last thing standing. Go down through your left side body. And I'm talking down from like the left hemisphere of the brain all the way to the left foot. Melt down through the left side body without collapsing. And then come up through your core. Come up through your core and float your right knee up. Any amount. Now bring it back behind you. Hold the outside of your ankle with your foot flexed, or take a strap around your ankle and hold the strap. And if you have the range, you want to go further, hold the inside of your ankle. Now bend your left knee, feel the weight of your body go down into the earth, and then as if you needed to spring yourself up, you push down so that the prana goes down and then rebounds back up all the way up your leg, up your spine to your crown. Kick your ankle and your hand into each other, Natarajasana. Now keep facing front. And by the way, you can have your left hand at a wall or a chair. Hand can be on chair or facing the wall. Now let the squeeze into the right side kidney and lung happen by kicking ankle and hand into each other. Allow your right pelvic half to roll forward rather than opening it up. So we're not going to open it externally. We're going to really keep it wrapped as though you were still standing in Tadasana. And if you can stay here 3 more breaths with the same pattern, inhaling into the kidney, both kidneys, both lungs. Exhale, feel the downward current. It's not just energetic. It's not just on the pranic level. It's happening through the kidneys, the ureters, and into the bladder. Good. And then when you're ready, come on up, circle the arm back and around. And settling in Tadasana. Take your time. Some people hold longer, some people hold shorter. And when you are in Tadasana, feel the steadiness and the evenness and the rootedness. And then get ready. Notice the right side brain all the way down through the right side body, all the way down into the right foot. Root down, come up through your core, and float the left up. Bring it back behind you. Hold the outside of the ankle, or strap around the ankle and hold the strap, or come to the inside. Now, right away, you might start to feel that the belly pit and the bladder gets kind of pulled towards the left pelvic half, and you open it. See if instead you can keep it wrapping internally so that that front left pubic bone squeezes into the disc between it and the right side bone. Then that supports the belly pit and the bladder to come in. And then really the belly pit calls for Mula Bandha and says, oh, beloved, rise up, come meet me in this space, right? And then bending right knee, go down, and then push off. Push that ankle and hand into each other, open it up, Natarajasana, dancing Shiva, the cosmic dancer. We are in a very grand cosmic dance these days, so be in it, be present with it, do your part, ask for guidance. Figure out in your own personal life what needs to end, what needs to be, in big words, it's destroyed. Shiva says, let's come and destroy anything that is not truth, and then let's recreate. And that's what a lot of us are going through right now. Magnifying glass into what is not true, what's not truth, and let it break apart. That's what's going on a structural level. Let it all come up. It needs to be dismantled so that it can be recreated. And that's what this expression of the cosmic dancer is. And then when you feel you've had enough, when you're ready to release it, come on down. Bring the right arm back and around. And then just stand. Tadasana. Feel the neutrality of Tadasana. Feel how, because your bladder supports in and the pelvic floor supports up, your brain can actually rest. Right? Whenever there's support from underneath, whatever's above can rest in a state of tone, active, alive, awake, yield, sattva guna, not collapsed, not propped, but in this in-between space of being. Good, now come on down. We'll take a seated posture before we come on to our backs. So come and sit on either two blankets or your cushion, whatever you've got. We do still have blankets left for sale at the yoga center, as well as the cushions for anybody who wants. I'm saying it because at some point I heard Patty tell people, oh, you can go buy bolsters from Corinne at the store. But that's not true because I sold most of them. So I figured, I better start mentioning it in class that not everything is still there. Thank goodness some things have gone so we can pay the rent. All right, so come sit up high. And why do we sit up high? You all know this because we don't want to collapse, right? Anytime we collapse in one place, it sends the message of collapse to the rest. So sit up and you're going to bend the left knee in and the right foot is coming by the left knee or out in front of the knee or crossed over. So here's the rule. You can put your foot anywhere you want, but you have to stay grounded down through the big toe ball. All right, so wherever you want to be. Now pull back, let your hands pull back into your shin, draw your bladder into you as you go down through your two sitting bones. Rise up through the ligaments in the front and the back of your spine, grow tall. And then kidneys initiate the spin. Feel the spin initiated through your kidneys, spinning to the right. You're going to wrap your left arm around your right leg, or you're going to lean back and take the back of the arm to the back of the leg. Now be mindful to keep your pelvis neutral. So don't let the top rim of the pelvis drop back as you spin here. Stay wide through your collarbones. Jaw joints are parted and the jaw joints lift up to the top of your head.
Base of skull gently lifts, and the silken cobra hood comes up over your head and into your third eye. You can push through your right hand. Your right hand comes to the side of your right hip, and as you push into the earth, you'll feel that kind of feedback go into the right side, ribs, kidney, and lung, and then use that initiation of the kidney and the lung to spin. Organs love to be squeezed and released. So try that breath pattern, inhaling into the back, lungs, and kidneys. And exhale, twist a little deeper as that prana and blood filters down, bladder in. Mindful not to harden. We don't pull things in, we undulate things in. And when you're ready to come out, rise up, inhaling, unspin. Lean back, uncross. Now bring your right leg in, left foot to the earth. Your two sides are not the same. So whatever you did on your first side, it does not mean you should do it on the second side. You should check. How can you keep your left big toe ball grounded? And then pull back on your shin a little bit, rise up, and spin. Wrapping the arm or the back of the arm to the back of the leg. Pressing your left hand into the earth, right out by your left pelvic calf. As you push down through your left foot, feel the left arch rise. And as you do that, feel your pelvic floor rise. Feel your bladder and belly pit come in. And then feel the spine elongate and the cave of your mouth, a soft palate up there. Feel it dome up as though there's a jellyfish there pulsing up. Just like in the arch of the foot where it all started. Brain rests. As you push from that left hand, feel. Do you feel it? It's like, yummy. It's like you push from your left hand and that, yummy hug of compression comes in through the left ribs, the left kidney, lung, and it spins the right side, kidney, lung, ribs. And the spine is just kind of hanging out in the center, being its radiant self. Sometimes we forget that we are radiant selves. I forget, I get bogged down. We all have our stuff. So let's remember, let's practice to remember, reclaim, and embody the truth of who we are. And share it and live it and bring it to others. Talk about it a lot, but it's serious work. 2 more breaths. Breathing into the back lungs and kidneys. And exhale, squeezing, just like you're wringing them out, little gentle wringing out like a wet washcloth. And when you feel complete, inhale, rise up, unspin. Uncross and scoot yourself forward on your mat. And take a nice slow roll to come down. Really take your time, always catch your sacrum, elongate your spine. And when you get there, come into Supta Tadasana with the arms raised if you can. So stretch your legs out straight. And just like to do when you're standing in mountain pose, we do the same thing. Flex your feet.
Imagine you are standing. It's the same thing. Flex your feet, pelvic half bones, squeeze and release into the disc between them, bladders dropping into you. Now notice if your ribs, especially if your arms are straight up overhead, notice if your ribs are poking up to the sky. And if so, could you just a little bit more? Inhale into those back lungs. Tether your stem of your breathing diaphragm to your pelvic floor. Soften your ribs. Breathing into your kidneys and lungs, and exhaling, currenting down. And as you feel ready, you're going to pull your arms down by your sides. Draw your right knee into you. Interlace your fingers behind your right thigh, and in a kind of pulsing in and out, yield and push your hands and thigh into each other. So your thigh tries to push forward and your hands try to pull back. Let them do that little resistance into each other, kind of in and out 3 times. Stay relaxed through your shoulders, soft through your neck. You might need to take a blanket under your neck and head. If your low back's tender, bend your left knee and yield and push your left foot to the earth to help your kidneys, lungs, and lumbar spine release earthward. Good. Now straighten your right leg, reaching your right foot up to the sky, still interlacing your fingers, yielding and pushing hands, thigh into each other. Keep long through your right side body, so don't let that hip hike up. Keep releasing your front body towards your back body, towards the earth's body. Inhale into your back, lungs, and kidneys. And exhale, current down. One more time, just like that. And at the end of that exhale, hug the right knee in, drop your bladder and belly pit into you, curl up, and give your knee a kiss. And then let it go. You're either bending the right knee, foot to the earth, or straightening the leg. Pavanmuktasana. Drawing left in, hold behind the thigh, and then yield and push 3 times. So you're basically resisting. It's a little PNF resistance stretching here. So pushing thigh and hands into each other, and then you back off. Notice the balance and the relationship between your adrenals and your kidneys, the fire and the water inside of you. And then when you're ready, pressing hands and thigh into each other, straighten your leg. Soften shoulders. Keep that left side body long. So in other words, resist the urge to hike the left hip up. If you know the psoas major, current down through it. And here in this variation of Supta Pada Gustasana, inhale into your back, lungs, and kidneys. And exhale, current down. Once more like that. And when you're ready, hug that knee in. Compression through the front supports the back. Curl up, give a little kiss. And place your left foot to the earth, your right foot to the earth. Tippy fingers touch both heels. Legs, feet push down and away. Float up, small Setu Bandha. Roll your arms, shoulders under you only if you want. Groins hollow, so don't push up, don't thrust up. Stay in the soft bridge. Squeezing into the side and back lungs and kidneys. 3 more breaths with the same breath pattern. Now take your arms out to the sides and really gently, so don't just come down and don't just roll down. I want you to, I love doing this. I'm going to see if I can explain it. So, you know how sometimes you have these little practices you do and then you want to try to find words. So I start to roll down through my back, lungs, and kidneys. And right when I get to the bottom of the kidney, I come back up a little. And then I roll down. So it's this rolling and squeezing and releasing through the back of the lungs and the kidneys. So I don't come all the way down. I just come to really like when I touch the bottom of the kidneys. I hope this makes sense. So you're massaging through your ribs, your lungs, and your kidneys just by simply very slowly rolling down and coming back up. But you have to go slow. And it's kind of like it's in there, it's deep. All right. And when you're ready, lower all the way down. Feel what it is to lower all the way down. Draw your knees in. Curl up. Bring the soles of your feet together. Hold under your heels. Now you choose, you either stay curled up or you lower down and you're in this kind of Upavista Baddha Konasana, this raised bound angle. You can stay here or bring the feet up a little closer. If you're curled up, you can look for the arches of your feet moving towards the crown of your head. And again, another reason I love this and I love the curling up is what it does, the massage to the back, lungs, and the kidneys. Sometimes I do a little side to side. You can get it also in Happy Baby if it's too much to bring the soles of the feet together. Good. One more or 2 more breaths. Drop your shoulders. Don't work so hard. The adrenals know how to get stuff done. Tell them to just relax. They get burnt out though, right? A lot of people have adrenal fatigue. There's a lot of dis-eases around the adrenals being completely burnt out. And when you're ready, lower, draw knees in, and take your knees over your bolster or your cushion or your blankets, whatever you've got. Knees connect structurally to the adrenal glands. So if we can really support and soften the knees, that will help in finding that equilibrium between adrenals and kidneys, fire and water. And if you'd like, you take supports under neck, head, or a blanket on top of you. So the compression on the front body can be done while you're laying on the back body, right? You lay on your back body and you bring something on top of you. Sandbags are great. I am selling the sandbags too, if anybody wants one of those. So bring your hands now. Well, you can bring them wherever you want, but if you want to continue with this, place the palms of your hands into the front body. And even though your kidneys are more back body, let your hands rest to where your kidneys are and just let them drop down. And then allowing your whole body every tiny organ, cell, blood vessel, fascia, fat, muscle, bone, the whole beautiful package of you, the wholeness of you. Melt it all to the earth's body underneath you. And feel yourself held. In the yogic tradition, we're in the time of Navaratri, celebrating the 9 nights of goodness prevailing over evil, right? Of learning to see the divine within us and everyone. So let yourself be held in the container of Navaratri, this 9 nights of honoring goodness over ill will or evil. Throughout India, it's honored in different ways. There's different stories, different traditions. Some are more goddess-centered. Some are more centered around the Ramayana and the journey between Sita and Ravana and Ram. So the essence, though, returning to essence, which is what this time of year is all about. Go to the essence of resting in that spirit of goodwill, the container where all the elements are in harmony, where people learn to live from the goodness inside of them, and light, love, justice prevails. Rest in that container. Slowly, we'll make our way back up. So anyone who wants to remain longer, you're always welcome to. And if you feel complete, rolling to your side and up to your seat. Find the seat of your comfort in this moment, knowing it's a new moment. And drawing your hands into Anjali Mudra. We'll close with a single chant of Om, 3 chants of Shanti. And just in case you don't know, Shanti means peace. So it's a calling out, a cultivation of true peace. Exhaling to empty and inhaling. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much for
practicing together this morning. Much love to you all.